What's up, guys? How's it going? NH Raven here, and today we have to talk about the drama of the day, and that is Mutation 002 Reprobloom. So this is a new card that is coming out in Revelations that has been getting a lot of attention over the past couple of days, and I felt like it would be a great time to give you guys my opinion on this card and all the drama that's gone around in the past couple of days. So let's read what it does first. So it is a 2-drop 1000 unit. When this card is targeted by a spell or ability, you may put into play 2 experiment unit tokens, which are just 1000 Argent tokens. So this card is absolutely busted. I'm going to be completely honest. A very, very, very strong card. It has tons of crazy interactions. All it has to do is be targeted. It doesn't have to be by your opponent's spells or abilities, which means that you can proc it yourself, which is what makes this card over the top. So the big interactions with this card that I see being super strong are using Rain the Champion, being able to expel some of your Blazewalkers, and then being able to proc off those effects while targeting your Reprobloom for just minus 500, getting the tokens. Another big interaction that I see being extremely strong is Liam decks, because not only do you get a set of tokens for equipping Reprobloom with the gears, but you also get them for pumping Reprobloom up when he goes to attack. So it is an extremely strong card, but I want to talk a little bit about how the community's been acting over this card over the past couple of days, and I just think it's absolutely insane, guys. Let's think about it for a second. We have maybe about a third of set 2 spoiled. We know that set 2 is going to be a huge boost for the speed of the game, and we know that aggro is supposed to get a lot better. So I guess the big thing that I wanted to talk about is if I think that this card needs to be insta-banned, things like that. And right now, I don't think that the card needs to be insta-banned. I can obviously tell how it can be a little bit ignorant with a couple interactions, but I think there's ways around it that we may not be thinking of, especially considering the fact that like a lot of people have argued, well, I tested it and it's just absolutely insane right now. And it's like, yeah, you tested it, but like you're testing it in an old meta, which is just completely irrelevant. We don't know what set 2 is going to bring to the game and what kind of interactions it's going to have. And for all we know, there could be a card that just says, you know, get rid of Reprobloom, or like, you know, I mean, obviously there's not going to be a card that says that straight up, but there could be a way to deal with this with no big drawback to yourself. There could be easy outs to it that we just aren't thinking of, that we could find. One big thing that I think of it about is the brawler skill that they introduced that we haven't really played with much yet. It doesn't target, and you just play a brawler unit, it gets quickness and target attack, and you just attack over Reprobloom. Obviously they can still trigger things like Liam or Rain even and make all the tokens, but this unit isn't like recurring in and of itself. It needs other cards to bring it back, such as Yami. Bouncing it to the hand's really good. I'm kind of just on the fence overall, guys. I just don't want you to panic as much as you are. I don't want people selling out of the game, quitting the game. Oh, this card should have never even been thought of. You got to give a little bit of credit to the R&D team, man. They spent a lot of time testing things, and there's cards, there's 2/3 of the set that we don't even know about yet. So to jump the gun and sell all your cards right away, I think is a little bit crazy. But yeah, there is one thing that I did want to talk about going with this card also is that of Gloom Oligarch. This is the one interaction that I think is just insanely unhealthy. If you just have one Gloom Oligarch on the board, one of the Reprobloom, and then any other unit, you can actually sack the other unit to target Reprobloom to buff him up. And then from there, you start sacking off all of the other units that are being produced to then neg Reprobloom, increase Reprobloom, and you can wipe your entire opponent's board quick speed, along with plussing up 3 of the 5 units that you have to an infinite amount of power. So if we're talking about anything that needs to be done at this exact moment with the card Reprobloom, I'm thinking Gloom Oligarch might be the one thing that puts it way over the top to the point where it's just completely unhealthy for the game. And all this is once again is speculation because of the fact that like we don't know what else is coming in the set. But this was the thing that like just screamed out like toxic unhealthy for me because like there is no cap on power for units, so like you can just sit there and continually bump it up. Like who's to tell you that you're not not allowed to keep doing that? And any kind of like instant speed massive board wipe, like anytime you play anything, once you have that set up, they just can't play. There's no way around it other than a board wipe, and that's it just doesn't seem too healthy in that regards. But one other thing I want to talk about Reprobloom is a lot of people were saying that if your opponent draws Reprobloom and you don't draw Reprobloom, you're just completely screwed. The game's over completely. And I wanted to talk about the inclusion of a card called Vabriel's Final Gift, which is something that got released, spoiled, I think at the same time as Reprobloom. And a lot of people even said like, oh, this card's not that great, but like, it's a 2-cost, search any freaking card in your deck. How is that not good? Even in an aggro format, like I can't believe that you would argue that like Vabriel's Final Gift is not a good card because it gets you to Reprobloom, which is what you're saying is just like the end-all be-all of the format. And I know Nori had a comment earlier in the week. He said something along the lines of Vabriel's Gift with Sylvia plus your mulligan, it gives you, I think it was a 77% chance to draw Sylvia, and that's a 1 of. So if you really think that Reprobloom is the end of the world, playing 3 copies of it like must increase that percentage somewhere in the mid to high 80s of seeing Reprobloom in your first turn if you are just dead set trying to draw that card. So it's almost like you and your opponent both have relatively high access to the card. And I don't know, I've just played other TCGs, and every once in a while a busted deck just exists. And then you play a one-deck format, but with Reprobloom not being a certain color or a part of a certain archetype, I'm kind of excited to see what crazy crap people come up with Reprobloom. And, if it does come down to the point where the card is just way too good, we'll play one tournament and it'll get banned. Some of the most fun formats within card games that I've played have been centered around broken cards. So I think we should all just take a step back, calm down. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. I mean, obviously this card is extremely strong, but you got to trust in the system. You got to trust in the team. When Argent first came out, people had the same opinion. They thought it was super busted. I thought the event, Indy, was a lot of fun. I mean, it seemed like Nori and the team of players that came top 3, Vinny and Philip, they kind of broke the deck. They found the exact best way to utilize Argent, and then the staff banned it or suspended it immediately the next day because it was a problem. It was not going to be fun going forward to play once people found that deck. And I just believe, if this card proves to be as big of a problem as everybody's freaking out about, then it'll just get handled. It'll get banned, and we can move on with our day. I know you guys have a lot of money and time invested into the game, and I know that the Argent staff is super open in regards to listening to what people have to say, but I think we should all take a step back and see what the rest of the spoilers are and kind of just see how this all plays out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video about Reprobloom and some interactions with it. But thank you guys very much, and peace out.